Okay, now let us continue from our last video, serotonin. So serotonin is a monoamine neurotransmitter. Most of it is produced by and found in intestine, like almost 90% of it. And the remainder is central nervous system neurons. It functions to regulate appetite, sleep, memory, learning, temperature, mood, behavior, muscle contraction, and functions of the cardiovascular system and endocrine system. It is speculated to have a role in depression as well, as some depressed patients are seen to have lower concentrations of metabolites of serotonin in their cerebrospinal fluid and brain tissue. The next one is GABA, that is gamma aminobutyric acid. So GABA is an amino acid which acts as a major neurotransmitter in the central nervous system with inhibitory effect. It helps in reducing anxiety. GABA's natural function is to reduce the activity of the neurons to which it binds. It inhibits nerve transmission of the brain, calming nervous activity. The next one is acetylcholine. Acetylcholine was the first neurotransmitter identified. Acetylcholine plays an important role in neuromuscular function, sleep regulation, learning, and memory. It is part of autonomic nervous system, which is a branch of peripheral nervous system in our body. It contracts smooth muscles, dilates blood vessel, increases bodily secretions, and slows heart rate. The next one is glutamate. So glutamate is a major neurotransmitter with excitatory effect. An excess of glutamate may result in overactivation and neuronal damage. Glutamate is used at a great majority of fast excitatory synapses in the brain and spinal cord. It is also used at most synapses that are modifiable, i.e., capable of increasing or decreasing in strength. Modifiable synapses are thought to be the main memory storage elements in the brain. Excessive glutamate release can overstimulate the brain and lead to excitotoxicity, causing cell death, resulting in seizures or strokes. Excitotoxicity has been implicated in certain chronic diseases, including ischemic strokes, epilepsy, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, and Huntington disease, as well as Parkinson's disease. The last one in our list is endorphins. So endorphins are polypeptides made by pituitary gland and central nervous system. Endorphins act as analgesics, which means they diminish the perception of pain. They primarily help one deal with stress and reduce feelings of pain. The pleasure effect associated with endorphins is in part related to the increased dopamine production that occurs due to endorphin activity. So these are some of the major neurotransmitters that we have in our body. So these are some of the details associated with neurotransmitters. You can take a screenshot of it, or if you are in our Telegram group, you can request PDF version of this slide. Okay, now you can pause the video and observe this slide on your own. Again, you can pause the video and observe this slide to understand the difference between excitatory and inhibitory neurons. Okay, the preceding account of neurotransmitters reflect on how the chemical substances may have an excitatory or inhibitory effect. This helps us to understand why certain drugs are prescribed by physicians to treat a disorder, or drugs that are dangerous and should be avoided. Now, drugs may act as an agonist, that is, a chemical substance may imitate or increase the effect of neurotransmitter on the receptor sites of the next cell, thereby increasing or decreasing the activity of the cell. For example, anti-anxiety medication like diazepam is agonist for GABA. As you have learned that GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. The inhibitory action is increased by the drug, and the drug directly calms the specific brain area that plays a role in controlling anxiety. Drugs may also act as antagonist, that is, the chemical substances that block or reduce a cell's response to the action of other chemicals or neurotransmitters. If the neurotransmitter that the antagonist affects is inhibitory, there will be actual increase in activity of the cell that would otherwise would not have been inhibited. There are some drugs that affect the reuptake or enzymatic degradation process. Drugs that are used to treat depression block the reuptake of serotonin, leaving more serotonin in the synapse to bind with the receptor sites, which over the period of time helps in improving the mood of the person. Dopamine hypothesis and the role of glutamate in schizophrenia. Abnormalities in dopamine transmission is one of the cause of psychotic disorder such as schizophrenia. I don't know if you are aware of schizophrenia. It's a mental disorder that causes major hallucinations and delusions. So people start to hear and see things that are not really, present outside of their mind in real world. They develop unusual beliefs that are not based on reality. If you have seen a movie called A Beautiful Mind, which is it's a real life story about a brilliant mathematician who suffered from schizophrenia. So you can check that out if you want. Right. Coming back to the subject, dopamine hypothesis of schizophrenia states that schizophrenia is caused due to excess activity of dopamine synapses in certain brain areas. Researchers have concluded that there is an increase in dopamine release in people showing the first symptoms of schizophrenia. Those are hallucinations and delusions. Drugs that are most effective in treating schizophrenia are the most effective at blocking dopamine receptors as well. This hypothesis is further supported by researchers who have concluded that continuous use of drugs like amphetamine, cocaine, etc. also show psychotic symptoms and causes substance-induced psychotic disorders. These drugs increase the activity at dopamine synapses. Apart from dopamine hypothesis, glutamate hypothesis also has a role in schizophrenia. Dopamine inhibits glutamate cells in many brain areas, and glutamate stimulates neurons that inhibit dopamine. Thus, the effect of increasing dopamine are similar to those of decreasing glutamate. So, the effect of antipsychotic drugs that block dopamine are in consonance with either excess dopamine hypothesis or deficient glutamate hypothesis.